Gentlemen, we are live, as this is the moment you've all been waiting for.
What's up, everybody? This is Austin from MMA Weekly with Austin 𝗕𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁, and I'm coming to you today or tonight, every time you watch this video, to break down this upcoming fight nights. You got UFC Fight Night, Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green, and then Bellator 300, the big show for Bellator, Nurmagomedov versus Primus, and I'm gonna start the UFC first. I'm gonna cover that first, as it starts earlier than Bellator, considering the Bellator show is a bigger show. Than the UFC show at the moment. Here, thank you guys for watching us and listening to us. We're watching us on YouTube, Rumble, listening to us on Spotify or Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Appreciate the love, support you guys give us. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. And like I said, let's get right into it. Let me just do this real quick. All right, and start off UFC, like I said, UFC Fight Night, Bobby Green versus Grant Dawson. I'm going to do it different. Instead of starting the main event first, going down, I'm going to go work my way up the card instead. Just a little bit different. Let me just do the poster real quick. First fight in the main card, excuse me, is on, according to UFC, well, on Google, check out the UFC, and unless the UFC changed it, hang on. No, because 𝗕𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗁 has something different. That's why I'm a little confused. But yeah, I'll go to the UFC website. Sorry about that. I should have just gone to the UFC website and check it out. I don't know why. It's probably more reliable than Google or 𝗕𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗁. My apologies there. So this, and there we go. Alex Hernandez versus Bill Algeo in the featherweight division. Now in this fight, I'm going with Bill Algeo because Alex Hernandez, I don't know why he's going that way. I don't like him at featherweight. I don't think he's I don't think he's a good featherweight. He's not a natural. He was already like a thick guy going and fighting lightweight. Anyway, the thing with Alex Hernandez is, for first round, the first few minutes, he's good, and then he just gasses out, and then leaves him open to being finished. That's been the story of his career. The last, I don't know how many fights. Looks good early on, slows down, and then gets caught, and then gasses out, and it's easy to get hit, gets beat up until the ref has to stop it. And featherweight, I don't know why he went down with featherweight. I mean, he went down with featherweight against Billy Cortino. That didn't work out for him. Now, I know he won against Jim Miller, which, Jim Miller is still a good fighter. I mean, if you're not good, Jim Miller won't beat you up and knock you out, I mean, despite his age. But still, Bill Algeo is not as old, or doesn't have the miles that Jim Miller has. And Bill Algeo, I think, is on a roll. I mean, Bill Algeo has won 3 of his last 4 fights. Come on, victory over T.J. Brown back in April of this year, and Max Holloway on our Island card via rear naked choke, and was able to finish 𝗕𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁's exhaustion from damage in their fight last year. Herbert Burns, that is, not Gilbert. If I said Gilbert, I meant Herbert Burns, Gilbert's brother. He has a victory over Jordan Brito, which that Brito victory is looking very nice, considering how well that guy's done in his career. Bill Algeo is very underrated, very good, very solid. I mean, outside his early losses, he doesn't get submitted. He doesn't get finished, really. And I just don't see Alex Hernandez doing enough to finish him personally. I'm gonna go with Bill Algeo, probably So if he finished him, probably a submission, maybe late second, third round submission, or decision him because he does have a decent amount of decision victories. And this fight's a featherweight, right? Let me make sure I didn't screw up. Yeah, it's a featherweight. I was correct early on. Yeah, I don't know why Alex Hernandez is going down featherweight. It makes no sense. I don't think he's a 145er, and especially since he already has sometimes gasses out at times. I don't know why he's gonna go down featherweight and fight in a division that he's not the best in. He already has gas, cardio problems, and yeah, Algeo should win. Very underrated. I think he'll beat him. I'll be shocked if Hernandez just beat Algeo. Just me personally. Because I mean, Alex Hernandez is a guy who's fallen off. This guy looked like a top prospect in the lightweight division. Then Cowboy Cerrone beat his ass badly, and he just hasn't been the same since that Cowboy beat that. He got in the first UFC ESPN card. And Bill Algeo is a favorite, minus 142 favorite. Alex Hernandez plus 120 favorite. Yeah, definitely going to favorite there. And then move on to the next card in the lightweight division between Drew Dober and Ricky Glenn. And this Drew Dober's coming off that knockout loss to Matt Frevola. And Ricky Glenn, if I'm mistaken, is coming off. I think I'm trying to remember. He was a loss, I think it was. Yes, to Christos Gigos. Christos Gigagos. I have a hard time with Greek names. Be a left hook first round back in April. Both guys come off knockout losses, but I trust Drew Dober more. Now you might say, well, Drew Dober's shin might have been cracked, but because Drew Dober has taken a lot of damage, but Matt Frevola is a knockout artist. It's not like it wasn't like just anyone got knocked out by. It's Matt Frevola who he's knocked out. Who look what he's done in a lot of his fights. He's knocked a lot of dudes out, especially recently. We did Ahmed Atazer to his undefeated streak, and then we did here to Drew Dober. I mean, Matt Frevola is legit, and I think Drew Dober just got caught by a guy who I think is a rising contender in the lightweight division. And my thing with Ricky Glenn is that Ricky Glenn is the guy who's had a lot of injuries. I mean, this is a guy who, after fighting twice in 2018, basically in 2018 he lost in November to Kevin Aguilar, and then didn't fight again until 2021. He didn't fight again until 2021, and then didn't fight at all in 2022. So those guys have bad luck of injuries. It seems like the guy hasn't been able to fight at all. And on top of that, I don't think he's as good as a striker as Drew Dober. I know he's got good wrestling, but Dober's got good takedown defense. Unless you're Islam Makhachev, who's the next level wrestler, you're not exactly taking down Drew Dober. Dober's got good takedown defense, and he's shown in most of his fights. And Ricky Glenn, I know he treated Team Alpha Male. They're known for wrestlers. I don't think Ricky Glenn is at the level of Islam Makhachev or even Dariush as a grappler. And even then, I mean, he's not their level. And I just don't think he's good enough to take Dober down. And I don't think he's as good a striker as Dober. I think Dober will be able to crack him and hurt him and probably beat him up. And also, don't be surprised Dober hit some body shots as well. But yeah, Dober probably beat him by decision or maybe knock him out potentially. Because Dober does hit hard too. That's the one thing about Drew Dober you got great credit for. He's got power in his hands, and if you're not careful, he will knock you out and drop you. Look at that Bobby Green he knocked Bobby Green out, and Bobby Green was doing well. And even on Terrence McKinney was dropped him twice, and he came back and knocked McKinney out in their fight. So Dober can, even getting hurt, can still knock you out. And I think Drew Dober should win this fight. I think Dober's a better fighter, and doesn't have to To me, it doesn't have. I thought he has more ways to win and doesn't have the injury history Ricky Glenn has. And Dober is a favorite, minus 455 favorite, plus 350 underdog for Ricky Glenn. Yep, I'm going Drew Dober. And then move on from that fight to the next fight in the cards is in the welterweight division between Joaquin Buckley and Alex Morono. Joaquin Buckley minus 170 favorite and plus 142 favorite for Alex here. And I'm going Joaquin Buckley. It makes sense. Joaquin Buckley, guy's gone down welterweight. He was a very small middleweight, but yet he had a decent amount of success. I don't want to say a good amount of success in middleweight. And Joaquin Buckley's come off the KO victory in his last fight, I think over Andre Fiallo, if I'm mistaken. yes, Andre Fiallo back in May, heck knockout, and yeah, Joaquin Buckley. We all know his knockout power. We all know that infamous knockout he had over Abdul Razak Hassan. Well, not him. My bad. Wrong African. My bad. 𝗕𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁 back in October 2020, and then he's had that great left hand hook knockout over Jordan Wright afterwards that gets forgotten about. I mean, Joaquin Buckley's got a lot of great victories, especially knockout victories that gets overlooked. That one, I don't know, that unfortunately for him, well, I should say unfortunately, sometimes it gets overshadowed by his legendary knockout back in 2020. But I feel like Joaquin Buckley's more athletic, got power in both hands and kicking game too. And he's a guy who's fine. I think he's in a weight class that's perfect for him, 170. I think Joaquin Buckley's a guy who could be a contender in his welterweight division, knowing that doesn't deal with guys who are bigger than him. He doesn't deal, much bigger than him rather. He doesn't deal with that drama like he did in middleweight. Plus the guy is only 29, so he's definitely in his prime. And out to Morono, good fighter. Like I said, the guy at one point was, I think, won 5 his last. I think he's won 5 his last 6 fights. Yeah, he has won 5 his last 6 fights. That lost to be Santiago Ponzinibbio, which took a short notice and was doing well before Ponzinibbio called him back in December. And then he got his last fight was victory with 10 memes. I just think as good as he can't be knocked out. Morono. I'm not saying Morono's got a weak chin. He doesn't, but same time, you can't knock him out. And he's been knocked out twice in the first round in his career. 2 TKO losses in the first round. Joaquin Buckley, with his power and his athleticism, can catch Alex Morono and really hurt him badly. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Joaquin Buckley's going to be too athletic, too quick for him. He's got power, like I said, in both hands. He's going to be able to catch him and knock him out in the first round, in my opinion. I think he's really going to hurt him badly. He might catch him with a kick or one of his punches. I mean, Joaquin Buckley's that good. I think this is a fight where Joaquin Buckley, if he has an impressive, this would put Joaquin Buckley very close to the top 15. Who knows? If he beats Alex Morono quickly in the first round, he might get a top 15 guy next, potentially. I could see the UFC doing that, considering he does have star power for his highlight knockout back in 2020 for other things he did. And I could totally see that. And I could totally see them giving someone like 15, 14, or 13-ish if he does get an impressive knockout victory. Highlight reel, especially within the first round, like I think he will. But yeah, I'm going Joaquin Buckley here. And then go from this fight to the co-main event, which is in the middleweight division between Abdul Razak Hassan versus Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer minus 455 favorite. Abdul plus 350 underdog. Yeah, I have to go Joe Pyfer here. It's the reason why the guy's got high for a reason. I mean, Dana White famously said, "Be like Joe Pyfer" in that Contender Series where he won the contract, where he was the only guy that impressed Dana White, and he's lived up to Dana White's. He's done a good job. I mean, Dana White said, "Be like him." He's proven why. I mean, the guy went out there and beat Gerald Marshall back in April via ground and pound in the first round, and then he's got a first round victory, a right hook over Alan Amadaski before that. Excuse me. Sorry about that, but Pyfer is a guy who's definitely a finisher. The guy I believe in. 10 of his 11 victories are by finish. The only fight that I'm trying to see that was a decision was, I'm trying to see how long ago that was. Jeez, what was that? I'm trying to remember how long ago. I was in the second fight. His second fight was career was a elite decision. Other than that, his other fights, victories have been finishes. And one of his losses was due to arm injury. So, more for his arm injury, who knows? He might beat Dustin Stolfus. As Dustin Stolfus hasn't exactly done well compared to Joe Pyfer. And I think Joe Pyfer is definitely going to finish him in the first round. As Abdul's got 12 of his victories are by first round KOs. Now, something if you're Joe, you got to be careful because Abdul has knockout power clearly, and the guy's got 12 knockout victories excuse me. But at the same time, I think Joe Pyfer's got more ways to win. I think he's definitely more well-rounded. And I think just better overall. Plus, Abdul's, I believe, 37. What's his age again? no, 38, excuse me. Joe Pyfer is like 27, so the age difference definitely gonna play a factor. And I think Joe Pyfer is gonna be, be younger. I think he's gonna be faster, more athletic, and he's more talented. So I expect Joe Pyfer to beat him here in this fight. Probably by first round, make KO, TKO, maybe submission, ground and pound. But yeah, I can see Joe Pyfer mixing up, taking him down, just beating him up there for sure. And we go from that fight to the main event. It's just Grant Dawson and Bobby Green. Now I'm going Grant Dawson. Dawson just the better fighter. Dawson's 29, Bobby Green 37. Bobby Green's come on that victory over Tony Ferguson, but it's an older Tony Ferguson. It's not the Tony Ferguson of 2018, 2019. The Tony Ferguson that dropped Bobby Green. Let's not forget in that fight. He got dropped by Tony in that first round. And Grant Dawson is such an elite wrestler, very elite wrestler. Look, we did against Marco Madsen, was able to beat him, despite Madsen being an Olympic wrestler himself. And then he dominated Damir Ismagulov, Damir Ismagulov, the guy I thought was definitely be a problem in that division. He just dominated him like nothing, and it's made me realize that Grant Dawson's a guy is a top prospect to watch in this lightweight division. Made prospects at the right work. He's ranked in the top 10, but the guy to watch out for, the future title contender. That makes sense if you guys get what I mean there. And guys come off a rear naked, guys come off a rear naked choke with Jared Gordon, then rear naked choke Mark Madsen, and then finish. Then Miss Gulov, he got a unanimous decision, but Gulov's a really good wrestler, and he out wrestled him like pretty impressively back in July. And Bob Green is not the wrestler that as Gulov is, or even Mark Madsen is. And I know Bobby Green's athletic, and Bobby Green's got power, and definitely if you're not careful, Bobby Green can hurt you badly. But he's not exactly the wrestler that Dawson is. I think Dawson will easily take him down. And Dawson trains at American Top Team, and trained with American Top Teams helped him out. American Top Team, they love throwing those low cap kicks, and I think in the stand-up he'll throw low cap kicks just to check Bobby Green, make sure Bobby Green doesn't get too comfortable with stepping in his punches and throwing power shots. So especially if he doesn't want to go for a takedown immediately, try to Bobby Green something different, so that takedown will be easier for him. I think he will take Bobby Green down. I think he will submit Bobby Green. I think he will probably in the first round or second round, kind of like Islam Makhachev. I know Islam submitted in the first round. I know Bobby Green took that fight in 10 days' notice, to be fair, back then. I think it was 2021 or 2022. I forget. I think it might have been 2022 when he took the fight against Islam. But I think here he's going to do the same thing. I think Bobby Green just had no answer for his wrestling. And Grant Dawson is just an elite wrestler, not even close. Between in the wrestling department, between him and Bobby Green. As I couldn't speak there. But anyway, Grant Dawson should win this fight. Probably his first or second round, in my opinion. I'll be shocked if this fight goes past the middle of the second round. Honestly, I'll be surprised. I personally don't know why this is a main event. This, to me, is not a main event of a UFC fight night. I know fight nights aren't the same as pay-per-views or like on ESPN cards. This is an Apex, but still, this is not. I'm sorry. I just don't think it's a main event at all. Bobby Green, he beat Tony Ferguson, old Tony Ferguson. I don't think that gets you an event with fight nights. I know Bobby Green has, done them favors and solids. They want to award them, but still, it's like, I don't like this as a fight night personally, main event. Card's not bad. I just don't think it's a main event. Grant Dawson should be in the main event of fight night. I understand Dawson, but Bobby Green, I don't get. Especially a fight against Dawson where Dawson's going to beat him so easily. I understand you want to build up Grant Dawson, but still, I don't think Bobby Green's the way to go. I mean, considering he's not ranked, he's not exactly a guy who was a former world champion or title contender. He's not exactly Tony Ferguson, who's got who's a legend. I mean, just saying that doesn't mean. Me personally, I just don't get why it's a fight night main event. But anyway, I'll watch it and definitely cover it and break it down next week. But yeah, Dawson should win. I got Dawson, Pyfer, Buckley, Dober, and I got Billy Algeo in this fight. And in terms of my picks for this fight card, as we transition from that fight to later on that night in San Diego, California, Bellator 300, live at 10 p.m. Eastern on Showtime. I like this poster that Bellator did for the 300 show. It has all the legends, the guys who fought for Bellator in the past. As you got Fedor in the front, you got Appreciable Pitbull, you got Royce Gracie, you got Douglas Lima, Chris Cyborg, you got Ben Askren, Teal Ortiz, MVP, Ryan Beta, Eddie Alvarez, Usman Nurmagomedov, you got Liz Carmouche. You got a bunch of guys who all fought for, guys who fought for Bellator at one point or other, whether they were homegrown guys or guys who came over. You even got some of the current roster and some former guys. You got Vadim Nemkov, you got Rampage Jackson, AJ McKee, Horiguchi. They got a lot. It's a great poster. I gotta admit, this Bellator poster is pretty nice. Give them credit there. It's a very cool, unique poster as they're celebrating their 300th show. And who knows if there's rumors that Bellator's gonna be on sale. I mean, that they're on sale. Well, actually, not. I shouldn't say rumors. It is true that Bellator is looking to. Viacom owns Bellator, is looking for someone to, a partner or someone to buy Bellator from them, or like, do a partnership with them or something like that. And people say the PFL might buy it, but I've been hearing that, but yet I don't see any reports. I'm kind of skeptical. I mean, let me phrase it. I'm kind of skeptical PFL buying Bellator because I know PFL got $100 million from Saudi Arabia in terms of investment, but I just don't know if PFL's got the money to buy Bellator like that. I mean, where's PFL getting the money from? I know PFL is a rising organization, but do they have the money like that to buy Bellator? And plus, we keep hearing, but yet there hasn't been any progress at all. Like, I know sometimes these things aren't just automatic like that, but still, it takes. But still, for these rumors to be going on and yet nothing's happened, it makes you wonder: is PFL really interested in Bellator? Are they getting close? And plus, Scott Coach talked about they're doing shows well into 2024. So, who knows if Bellator even gets sold by then? Personally, I hope if Bellator gets sold, doesn't get bought out by PFL or any organization, because the last thing we need for the sport is another organization to be bought out and have and then there's not. Hang on, let me cough real quick. Sorry. Sorry about that, but yeah, the problem is I don't want to be an organization disappear and then there's less places for fighters to fight. It's not good for the sport. It's better to have Bellator around where there's another place for fighters to fight, make a living, and keep doing their sport that they love doing. And it's better for us fans because Bellator's got a good roster, very good roster. Matter of fact, they're the only organization I can think about where the champions can actually compete with UFC champions, like legitimately. Where it's not just one or two, it's multiple guys in that roster. Seriously, look at the roster of the Bellator fighter champions compared to the UFC champions, and their competitive fights. Like Nemkov versus Yuri or Alex Pereira. I'll go Nemkov. I know Nemkov lost to Yuri back in the day in Japan, but that was at heavyweights, and that was after getting over there in Japan, Ryzen. Their rounds are 10 minutes long, and not 5 minutes like they are here in the States or even one championship. It's 10 minutes, and it was at heavyweights, and Nemkov gassed out, and Nemkov fixed that problem. I think the fight be different. Yuri could beat him still, but it's a much more competitive fight. You got that. Eblen versus Sean Strickland's a fight. Eblen could win. Yaroslav Anselov against someone like Leon Edwards, a competitive fight. Even Patchy Mix against Sean O'Malley. Patchy Mix definitely beat him. I get Bellator credit for building a good roster on top toward this fights. So you go, man, I can see him fight the UFC guys because there might be legitimately competitive fights. And if they just disappear, it'll be bad for MMA. And I gotta give them credit; they do have talented fighters, and there's other guys too I haven't mentioned who I think could do well in UFC. I like to see. So I hope Bellator doesn't go away. Let's say they get bought by PFL or some billionaire buys. I hope they don't just get rid of. Well, if billionaire buys, they probably won't get rid of it. But I hope it doesn't get bought out and it just disappears. That'd be bad for MMA. I saw an article or a headline, Dana White saying that Bellator is good for MMA or something like that, or being a business is good, like something like that, which I agree with. It is better to have a Bellator around. Plus, it gives guys options, and plus, if guys want to fight their contracts, they can go somewhere else, make more money too. Because if you really care about fighter pay, you should want Bellator to exist, so that way fighters can negotiate and get paid more, even if they don't go to Bellator. Let's say stay in UFC. But if they use Bellator or PFL with one championship as negotiation, UFC pays them more because they want to keep them, make more money, and fighters get more money, and then fire pays off. But anyway, I'm rambling a little bit too much about that. But I think it's important to mention considering Bellator 300s are around the corner and there's talks of it being sold. I think it's important something to talk about. What I mentioned, but let's get started with the card. I mean, unfortunately, it was supposed to be 4 fights. There's supposed to be 4 title fights. Ryan Bader and Linton Vassell was supposed to be in that heavyweight title fight, but Linton pulled out of the fight because he was too sick and he felt he could compete. And there's some. Hang on. Sorry if you heard advertisement. Try to pull up the article, but unfortunately, there's some freaking ads. So give me a moment. Hang on. Anyway, yeah, Ryan Bader was supposed to fight Linton Vassell this weekend, but Linton pulled out due to illness, and the fight was removed. Unfortunately, I mean, Corey Anderson did offer to step in and fight heavyweight against Ryan Bader because he has a victory of Ryan Bader back in the lightweight tournament like a year ago, or a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago it was. I think that fight took place, but unfortunately Bellator decided not to do it, and it might not be a Bellator decision, it might be a Viacom decision because Ryan Bader did say when someone asked him about it, said he responded to the fans saying, "quote, we told Bellator we're good with anything. It looks like Viacom doesn't want to pay. They're out and this falling through saves them money." I don't know what he means by they're out and this falling saves them money. Well, that part, yeah, I just don't get they're out. That part makes I don't understand. I mean, I don't know why Viacom doesn't want to pay the money. You're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. You can afford to pay most money for freaking to pay Corey Anderson enough money and Ryan Bader enough money to make this fight happen, especially considering this is a 300 show. You want to have stack that card as possible, which you did the main card. Why would you want? I mean, you shouldn't want to lose someone like Ryan Bader, who's a well-known name, who's someone that people actually care about, who many fans actually know and actually care about, especially against Corey Anderson, 2 fighters who MMA fans I should say know about and care about. I don't get Viacom. Their ownership of Bellator has been questionable in my opinion. I don't get it. You're a billion-dollar corporation, but yet you sometimes don't promote like you should. You don't put money into it. It's like, do you know what the fuck you're doing half the time? There's no reason why Bellator shouldn't be more marketed better. Viacom's got the money. They're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They own what? Paramount, MTV, VH1, all that stuff. They got money like that, but anyway, I don't want to get too much. I mean, I understand that's another topic in itself, but still, it's like they should just take the card so the card stays stacked. I mean, it's still a good card with 3 title fights, but still, it would be better to have Ryan Bader there, especially against Corey Anderson, which would have been a fun fight to watch. But and also, I don't know why Linton Vassell decided to pull out like a week before the fight due to illness when he probably could have felt better in a few days. Especially, it was over a week before the fight. Unless it was like a really severe illness, which hopefully it's not. Hopefully, pray to Linton. Hopefully, he feels better. But if it's Ryan Bader mentioned that, which like I was thinking the same thing. Like, yeah, if it's not super serious illness, why are you pulling out a week before the fight? And Ryan Bader mentioned he's had illness the week of fight, but he kept fighting through. I mean, I don't understand that, but hey, it is what it is with him. We'll transition to the fights in the card. I'll start with Liz Carmouche versus Liam Macfarlane for the women's flyweight title. Both women are friends. They used to be training partners over at Alliance in San Diego, and Liam May's come out with a 2-fight win streak, and it's come up back-to-back victories. And Liz Carmouche come off with her successful title defense over Juliana Vasquez. Back, I want to say April was. It's rare when you see 2 friends fight each other, especially people who train together, because usually there's that problem sometimes of 2 guys or 2 women in the same division, training partners or friends don't want to fight each other because of that, which sometimes can be frustrating for a promotion, because especially when 2 fighters in the same weight class are 2 of the best and it makes sense for them to fight, they don't want to do it. Especially look at Merab and Aljamain Sterling when the whole bantamweight division thing, where both guys were Merab was number 1 and Aljamain was champ, but they want to fight each other, and both guys are praying punch for that. When you think about it, the UFC, give credit both women willing to fight each other, willing to test each other out. I mean, Liam May said when Liz Carmouche came, she's willing to fight her. She would like to fight her friend, And it makes sense. These are two women who train together. Now they make good money fighting each other and see who's the best. And I'm pretty sure, I would think both women would bring it. I would hope so. With Leo May, it's just is her head in the game because after she lost, you mentioned like her head wasn't in the right place, and her fight after she came back from the title loss, she did exactly have her best performance. Probably was mental and all that, and she had a better performance against in her previous fights. So I think this fight she's gonna be motivated because I feel like she wants to give it her best because she doesn't want to disappoint her friend Liz Carmouche. To where if she goes out there, doesn't give her all and gives a half-ass performance, I feel like Liz Carmouche would be very upset with her, knowing that her friend Liam May didn't give out the best performance. And I think Liz Carmouche is gonna go out there and give it her all because it's part of his ego. These women want bragging rights. They want to be able to say, "Hey, I beat you in a real fight." I think part of these women have that mentality. And I think both girls are going to go out there and give it her all and want to prove that, no, I'm the better fighter too. No, I beat you. You know, who knows how the training sessions went? I have no idea who did what, who was better than who. But I'm probably going to go Liz Carmouche at the moment just because she's looked better recently in her recent fights. Although I'm just slightly, because I can see Lin beating her just because she's probably more motivated, especially after what happened in Hawaii with the wildfire. She probably really wants to give Hawaii something to celebrate, something good. Yeah, I can see that being a motivating factor just to be able to go out there and dominate, win for her people over there in Hawaii. I'm going Liz Carmouche, probably like decision, just slightly. I can see Lin Far win that fight. And transition from that fight to another woman's fight, and this fight's different. There's no friends here. Kat Zingano versus Cris Cyborg. Zingano, since coming to Bellator, I think she won her 3 previous fights in Bellator. She's had 3 fights in Bellator, won all 3 of them. 4 fights, excuse me, in Bellator. Has won all 4 of them. She's a rightful contender against Cris Cyborg, who's a legend, who's won all her fights in Bellator, had group title defenses. It's like a while her status at Bellator was under question because of her contract, but she re-signed contract with them. Now she's fighting Kat Zingano. This is a fight that Bellator's been trying to make for like the last year and a half, 2 years, and both women have talked a lot of shit about each other. And we're finally going to see it. And I like this fight because Zingano has a wrestling background, does use wrestling, grappling in her fights, while Cyborg's an elite striker. I am interested in see just how much does that play a factor. Zingano use her wrestling, take Cyborg down, and do some work on her. Work with Cris, and how good is Cris Cyborg's takedown defense? There's a woman who's got good grappling and wrestling like Zingano does, and is she able to stop the takedowns? Will she be able to go out? If she can stop the takedowns, she'll probably be out there and piece up Kat Zingano badly because Zingano's striking is nowhere near Cyborg. Cris Cyborg has some of the best striking in women's MMA history. Yeah, and you can make an argument it might be the best. I know some say, well, Amanda Nunes beat her. True, but part of that also, I mean, I still think Cyborg's the best when you watch all her fights. Despite that, I mean, let's not forget, Amanda Nunes got beat by Juliana Pena striking, her awful, shitty striking. I mean, that's a bad look. And some say, well, Amanda lost to that girl. Yeah, but I think part of it is also Cyborg being reckless and going old shooter box style. I always thought in a rematch, Cyborg would beat Amanda Nunes. That's just me, because I think she learned her mistake, and she's done, I feel like, much better in her fights since that loss compared to what Amanda's done since her victory in that fight. That's just me, but yeah, I'm gonna go Cyborg. I think I know Cyborg's had a longer layoff than Zingano. Zingano fought earlier in this year, I believe in I want to say March. Yeah, March 31st, she won against Leah McCourt, and Cyborg hasn't fought since I think a year ago. Last fight. Her last MMA fight was over a year ago. She's had 2 boxing fights, so you know what? If this might, who knows? Maybe this is a perfect opportunity for Kat Zingano to pull up the upset. Considering Cyborg hasn't fought an MMA fight in over a year, while Zingano has fought at least once since that time. He's fought, I think, 2 MMA fights since Cyborg's last MMA fight. But even then, I'm going with Cris Cyborg. Just Cyborg's just too damn good. One of the best, probably the best women's MMA fighter of all time. Just so dominant. And I just think that she's from working on her wrestling defense. I think she's gonna do enough to go out there and stuff some of the takedowns and be able to do damage her in the striking. Maybe if not finish Zingano, at least beat her up badly. And plus, Cyborg can kick and has thrown kicks. If you're Cyborg, just don't throw too many body kicks, or else she's gonna grab your leg and take you down. I think Cyborg would throw leg kicks just to weaken Zingano's legs, so that way her legs, if her legs are hurt, she has a hard time pushing forward for takedowns. And I do think Cyborg could implement that, but I think Cyborg could also use her footwork and movement from boxing stance to get out the way, so that way Zingano has a hard time grabbing hold of her, and she can beat up Zingano that way as well. So yeah, going Cyborg, probably decision or late stoppage. But I do think she'll beat up and bloody Zingano, considering there's some beef and bad blood between the two ladies. And then it goes to the main event. Nurmagomedov versus Brent Primus, the semifinals of the lightweight tournament. Winner goes on to the finals and is the champion and has a chance to win $1 million. Excellent fight. First of all, good job Bellator making this the main event. This should be the main event, especially if let's say Bellator can stay around. You want to build the future. You know, Nurmagomedov is what, 25, 26? Probably 25 actually. And he's Khabib's cousin, so you got that lineage undefeated. He's come off that impressive submission victory over Benson Henderson back in March, and Brent Primus come off that victory back in May in the first round of the tournament against Mansour. But how do I pronounce his last name? Barnaoui, and back in May in France, considering he was a replacement, a last-minute replacement. He was supposed to fight in that card or in that fight, but the original opponent got pulled out, and then he stepped in, and he's making most of it. Brent Primus is a former Bellator lightweight champion. Brent Primus is very good. I got Usman arguing for this fight, but the one thing Brent Primus has an advantage over Usman is submission wrestling or submission grappling. Wrestling, Usman's better. Striking, Usman's better. You know, Brent Primus does have power in his hands, but still, Usman's just a better technical striker, and I think Usman. And I do think Usman does throw a lot of good kicks, like the Taekwondo stance, to where it feels like may not hurt, but they do hurt. And look at that fight with Benson Henderson, where he drew a head kick, and he fell down. He still connected and dropped Benson Henderson. Really impressive there. And I do think Usman's gonna play him up badly in the striking department with kicks and punches. And Brent Primus, I don't know if he's got the strength for the wrestling to take Usman down. So he trains with Habib, trains all those wrestlers and Dagestan, Sambo guys in Dagestan and Habib's camp and all of them folks over there. I mean, let's say it becomes a submission match. Let's say Usman goes for a bad takedown, and Brent Primus would counter and trip him down and get a good position and make it a grappling match. Yeah, Brent Primus got a huge advantage to really do work on Usman, but I just don't know. I don't think Usman would do that. Usman was able to use his wrestling to control him and do good and I think he's able to do that. And I do think he's a better striker. I think his kicks and punching ability especially his kicks. He likes throwing a lot of kicks. Him and his brother, especially Usman. And he's probably being Umar Nurmagomedov in the UFC. And I think he's going to go out there and just throw a lot of kicks against him. Because I think he knows that, he can't, what's his name? Brent Primus can't take him down. In terms of condition. Like, I don't think he's got the wrestling to take it down. I think he knows he's got good enough wrestling to get up. I think the kicks are going to frustrate Brent Primus. I think he's not careful. He can get dropped by them. And Usman's got good hands, too. He's shown it in the Patricio fight that he got hands, too. I remember he hurt Patricio in the second round at one point. And, yeah, I got Usman Nurmagomedov winning. Probably like, I see him stopping him. Maybe like second round stoppage where he dropped Brent Primus to finish him. Hurt him badly. May go for a submission of his own or ground and pound him just because of the kicking. I think Usman is one of those fighters where you get so worried about his kick, you forget that he got hands, and he'll drop you his hands. Kind of like Mirko Krokop at times, where he gets so focused on his kicks that you forget he's got hands. He'll catch you with a punch and drop you. Not to say it's Mirko Cro Cop. Obviously, Mirko Cro Cop is one of the best kickers in MMA history. But again, Mirko's got good hands. He's so worried about the kicks that he'll catch you with hands and hurt you badly and drop you, or at least rock you. Sitting with Wonder Boy, you're worried about his kicks that he'll just, if you're not careful, Wonder Boy will throw a punch and rock you. Most of Wonder Boy's knockouts come from his kicks, but still, it's not like you want to get hit by Wonder Boy's punches either. I think Usman will do a similar thing against Brett Primus. Not saying he's like those guys. I'm saying I'm just another example to illustrate my point. But yeah, I got Usman Nurmagomedov winning second, third round. Either way, thank you guys for watching and listening to my video here. I am going to make another video talking about the recent UFC fights that have been made for 295, 296, December 2nd, December 9th, and UFC 297 as well. Stay tuned for that. Sorry for... I guess I talked so fast, I haven't exactly done a video in a while, so I've been coughing and having like dry throats. I should have drank more water before doing this because my throat's been killing me, and I'm so worried about my throat killing me that sometimes I get distracted and shit like that. So apologies for a little bit rusty, but yeah, gotta make a video for you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know who you think's gonna win these fights and what fight you look forward to most, and let me know. I'll look forward to reading your comments, and don't get the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to support the channel by subscribing to the channel, leaving thumbs up and positive comment, etc. Appreciate the love, support you guys give us, because without you guys, this channel's nothing. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time, and peace.